Hey, how's it going? This is Joe Mantel, and today I'm going to be taking a look at something very different, and it's some in-ceiling speakers. This is the first time I've ever reviewed an in-ceiling speaker, so I don't really know what to expect. It's from my channel sponsor, OSD. For full disclosure, we do have an agreement where I review at least one product of theirs each month. I am allowed to say whatever I want to say though. So recently I did a factory tour of OSD's warehouse. It was awesome, it was huge, and basically I came home with this box that is used to test out in-ceiling speakers, not in-wall, because that's a little bit different, but you get the idea. Basically speakers that are meant to not have their own enclosure necessarily, but mainly to be put, installed inside of a ceiling. And so that's a little bit different in that enclosure might not be perfectly sealed, and so they gave me this enclosure basically with different templates so it'd be easier for me to test out different speakers. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be measuring them to see what the frequency response is. Now it may be different depending on your installation, how spaced out it is. It'll make a difference whether your ceiling is 8 feet or 9 feet, whether your floor is reflective or whether there's carpet there. So all these things will affect the overall sound. I just want you to know that if I measure something here, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's exactly how it's going to sound to you, but it'll give us a basis to compare different ones, as I do have a few speakers from OSD. So we're going to go ahead and just try it out and see what happens. OSD sent me a bunch of in-ceiling speakers, and so I had to just pick one. Right now I'm taking a look at this ACE650, and they have a few different lines, and what I've noticed is one says OSD black reference, so I'm assuming that that's their installer line. As far as pricing, I'm gonna leave a link in the description to all this so you can take a look and see what the current pricing is on all this. But these, looking at the specs, it says it's a 6.5-inch ceiling speaker, woofer is a Kevlar cone, tweeter is a 1-inch pivoting titanium dome, power handling 90 watts, sensitivity 89 dB, frequency response from 45 hertz to 20 kilohertz. We'll have to see about that. And impedance 8 ohms. So far so good. Let's take a look at this thing. Go ahead and unbox it. All right, open this up. And we have instructions. All right, so tools needed. All right, so basically how to install this thing. All right. Oh, okay, so it says adjustable bass and treble. Interesting. We'll see how that goes. And let's go ahead and open this up. Now, one thing to remember is that these actually come in pairs. Some come in a single driver, and so we'll have to see. Oh, interesting. Here on the side it says ACE series, ACE architectural ceiling element series. All right. Combine elegant modern style with outstanding audio performance. The stealthy micro flange grills have a thin 0.15-inch bezel, giving the ACE speakers a clean, sleek, and modern appearance that seamlessly integrates into any design space. All right. Get this open. All right. This kind of reminds me of car speakers where you're just getting the driver. All right, so here it is. First thing I notice is it's pretty light. Magnet's not huge. It is a 6.5-inch driver. I've seen bigger magnets on other speakers, but that doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. It's just something that I look at because typically a bigger magnet means a stronger motor, meaning you're gonna get more output. Typically you're gonna get just better power handling, things like that. This does not seem to be a vented pole piece, meaning that the air doesn't escape from there. So these are just the things I'm noticing right off the bat. Right here. Okay, so there's the magnetic grill. Oh man, that's kind of nice. I assume you're supposed to take this off. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if you're supposed to take that off actually. Maybe that's supposed to stay on. Like I'm saying, this is the first time I've unboxed and tested an in-ceiling speaker, so I don't really know what I'm looking at. I'm just pretending. But so far, this looks good. Reminds me of Bowers and Wilkins speaker. maybe a KRK with the yellow Kevlar. No, you're not allowed to say Kevlar. Yellow, what is this? Carbon fiber? What are we supposed to say here? It says Kevlar on there, but I think Kevlar is a trademark name. Anyway, and this is a 1-inch titanium dome. That's interesting. I actually like titanium dome tweeters because I find that most of the ones that I've reviewed have higher or better top end extension, meaning that they actually go all the way out to 20 kilohertz, whereas some of the soft dome ones tend to drop off. It depends on what you like. I tend to like these. I've seen some on some of the SVS speakers, things like that. I see a rubber surround here, and overall this is plastic, and yeah, I have to see how this actually mounts, but I also do see a crossover. So this is a two-way design. You have the 6.5 inch. You have this, which pivots, which means that you can actually point this where you want it to go, and that's helpful. Sometimes if you have it up in the ceiling, you don't want it pointing straight down. Maybe you want it angled towards you, and so you can angle the tweeter, so that's a nice touch. Now this is a coaxial design, not necessarily a concentric design, because concentric means that it's time-aligned, meaning that the voice coil of the tweeter and the voice coil of the mid-range or woofer are in the same location, and these are not. So the voice coil is up here on the tweeter, whereas the voice coil is somewhere down here on the mid-range slash woofer. No big deal, just need to make sure that I make that clear. And on the back, we do see a crossover. It does have some nice push terminals, although these are relatively small, so you're not going to be using some super thick gauge. I'm trying to guess about what that is, maybe 12, 14 for sure. But yeah, not the thickest gauge wire, which you're probably not going to run anyway. I thought I saw in the manual that you're supposed to be able to adjust the bass and treble. Oh, okay. It says only applicable to certain models, so not this one. But yeah, the only thing to do other than look at this thing and admire how it looks is to put it into the enclosure and see how it measures. So one thing I want to say is, for the folks who are somewhat new to this channel, I want to just quickly talk about what a frequency response measurement is and what it does. And so basically what it is I am feeding this speaker a known test tone, which is known to have a flat frequency response. Now what does that mean? It means that all of the frequencies being played are of equal loudness. Just to keep it simple, I'm going to say that basically what we want to do is we use a calibrated mic with a known flat response for the microphone, and we're going to measure to see what the output of this is. So ideally, whatever goes into this, so if we put in a flat frequency response should come out of the speaker. Now, no speaker is perfect. They are physical mechanical devices, so you do see some deviations, and those deviations will show up as ups and downs, peaks and valleys on that frequency response graph. So when you look at the frequency response chart, what you're looking at is on the far left, those are all the frequencies from the base on the far left to the highest frequencies on the far right. And so all the way in between, and in the middle is your mid-range, and so all the frequencies in between and the volume level of all of them. So ideally flat, but of course no speaker is like that. You might see me mention something about plus or minus 3 dB point, and that's a spec that we use to see how far it's deviating from that flat 0 decibel frequency response. One thing I might be looking at here is I might be looking at off-axis response, meaning when you're directly on axis to the speaker, that's on axis. But because this is meant to be mounted on the ceiling or in a wall, I guess, on the ceiling though, you're definitely not going to be on axis. So we want to see how it performs off axis. I think that's going to be important on these types of speakers. Now you can potentially mount this in the front wall too, in which case you can be on axis to the speaker. So it really depends. I'm going to take a few looks at different measurements just to see what we're looking at here. All right, so here is the setup. This is one of the baffles that I'm going to be using. And so this is an 8-inch cutout actually. And you know, you'd think that you'd need a 6.5, but no, of course, the outside of this is about a little bit less than 8 inches in diameter. And so when we throw that in, Boom, fits right in. Now, in order for this to stay here, when we look at the back, I thought this was pretty cool. So when they ship it, these tabs are pushed off to the left here. You just push them out, and there's 3 of them, 1, 2, 3. And so you can see how when you tighten these screws, this is terrible. You should probably not be using a power drill, but I have it on the lowest setting, so I'll do this very carefully. And this is my new Makita. A little gift to myself. Wow, that's a pretty nice fit. So let me show you what's happening on the back here. There it is. That's it. Nice and secure. That's not coming off. All right, I would feel confident with that above my head. It's not coming down even though we're in Southern California and we have earthquakes. And to be fair, I actually am gonna be measuring it with the grill, because who's gonna really keep the grill off on these? I'm sure that it'll measure better with it off, but let's be real. So if you're wondering, this thing is not perfectly sealed, but it does have a gasket around it. So it's relatively sealed. As far as the insulation inside or the damping, well, that's kind of normal because you might have some of that stuff inside of your walls depending on whether you have insulation. So nothing extremely out of the ordinary. Of course, it's not perfect like I was saying, but it'll just give us an idea. So just for fun, I'm gonna test it with the grill on and off to see what the difference is. So I'm looking at these graphs here, and so the first thing that I notice is, let's just take a look with the grill on. Like I'm saying, there's not much difference, but this is a rising response, meaning that there's not a ton of bass here, and then there's more mid-range and even more treble. That's not typically the response you want. You want either flat or even somewhat of a downward slope. Yeah, this is gonna be rather bright on axis, meaning if you have it facing directly at your ears. Now, you can use some of the room EQ that's built into a lot of these AVRs, like Denon, Odyssey, and Dirac that's on the NADs, all kinds of other ones. But yeah, it can fix some of this. What we also want to take a look at is what it looks like off axis. So this is 45 degrees, meaning if you have this on the ceiling and you are not directly underneath it with your ear pointed directly at it, then you're looking at more of a response like this blue line. And so this is with a tweeter pointed towards your ears or towards the microphone. So it's not exactly the same, but you can see that it's a little bit of a flatter response. And actually the tweeter pointed straight, not towards you, gives you, in my opinion, an even better response. So not perfect. There's a lot of ups and downs here, a lot of deviation from flat. So I would prefer this to be flatter. But let's just take a look at the best possible measurement that I've gotten here. So basically this is the response off axis with the tweeter pointed straight, so also off axis to that tweeter, which really helps to tame the highs on here, but still lots of ups and downs. So I don't know if this is normal for a speaker like this, an in-ceiling speaker. Maybe it's this enclosure. We're going to find out once I start doing more of these measurements. But this was recorded at 82.7 dB, 82.7, so right around here. So 3 decibels down from that is where the bass starts to roll off significantly. So 3 dB would be 79.28, so around here. So around 43 hertz. What do they claim on the box? 45 hertz. Okay, so not bad. So you are getting some bass with this. You really just want to flatten this response out. And I'm not sure exactly how this translates to a speaker being above you. Maybe psychoacoustically that might be a little bit different. So a lot of different things here, but this is the baseline. All right, so right now I'm going to place it on the speaker leaderboard to see where it places in its own category of in-ceiling speakers. All right, so here we are at the speaker leaderboard, and we have the OSD ACE650, and it belongs here in ceiling speakers. And so based on what I've heard, it's at the very top because it's the only one that I've reviewed. So there you have it. When I review more speakers, I'm gonna go ahead and place them on here to see how they rank. All right, so there you have it. That is my review of the OSD ACE650 in-ceiling speaker. And so overall conclusion, this is the first in-ceiling speaker I've reviewed, so I have really nothing to compare it to other than other bookshelf speakers. And compared to those, they don't measure as well. But keep in mind that those are actually in enclosures that are meant specifically for that. Whereas with this, it's meant to go in any different type of installation. So I guess it has to be a little bit more flexible in that way. So we'll have to see how the other ones compare to these. And so, yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So far, I mean, it plays music and it's not as flat as I would hope for it to be. But again, these are, I think, about $100 for a pair. So they're not very expensive either. And so we'll have to wait and see. I have a bunch more to review. And so thank you for watching. If you like the video, make sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. Take care. Bye-bye.